What's up, everybody? It's your boy Wes Grind. You're watching Sub Urban Nerd. This is the channel where I give my reviews on today's nerd news. And today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. Maybe Wes thoughts, my thoughts, whatever the hell. And not thoughts as in those thoughts over there. Staying away from them. I'm talking about these thoughts right here. And today I'm going to be talking about the PS5's new design, or the way it's made, or whatever, of the Dual Sense Controller. The Dual Sense Controller is the next evolution of the PlayStation controller. You know, you had the first PlayStation controller, you had the Dual Shock controller, the one where Solid Snake and Mantis, like where you had to put your controller down and it shook, whatever. This shit was crazy. You had the PS3 controller, which I think had the 6-axis. I believe the 6-axis was the PS3 controller. The PS4 controller, which is this one, is where they introduced the touch kind of pad where you push on it. And also they added the share button, which is where a lot of social media you get to upload, which is great because before, when I was playing God of War and I beat the Valkyrie Queen, wanted to show it off, they have this own little PlayStation Network, and then they have what is it called, the Share Factory. It's another app you have to download that's added onto what you can put with the PlayStation to edit the videos and do a little bit more. But yeah, this is what the controller currently looks like, which is the DualShock 4, and you have these trigger buttons, which is a nice little addition added to it. You have the buttons, there's the back, and like I said, you have the share button, which you can see the word share right there, and then this is, you know, the regular menu button. But this controller, the PlayStation controller, hasn't changed much. So the new design is very reminiscent, or very close to the Xbox controller, which a lot of people are saying, look, it's getting hate on it. But before I bought like an aftermarket controller, because the Xbox controller just feels a little bit better. Even though I do love my PlayStation, but sometimes it just feels a little bit more, you know, sleek in your hands. Now I'm gonna start telling you the things and facts, everything that I know about the PlayStation controller. The first thing is the adaptive triggers, right? Now with the adaptive triggers, what it means is it's kind of offset a little, and it doesn't pretty much swing down, it pretty much comes in more, as opposed to the way this goes in, it swings down. And what that means is when you're playing games like, say, Horizon Zero Dawn, right? And you're trying to pull the trigger to pull a bow back, you feel the tension in it. Like, so depending on how you pull it, she will slowly pull it like this, depending on how hard you put it. Or if you're playing like a racing game, if the acceleration is that, it's gonna go gradually. Now, of course, all games kind of have that kind of feedback, but this is really gonna bring it up to another level. And the other thing that's added to that makes this controller so much more different, or what they're trying to do, is evolve and try and immerse people more with the PS4, or with the PS5 actually. Now, what is this called? Haptic feedback, right? The haptic feedback, it's simulation, as far as it's not just with the DualShock. It had a smaller motor and a bigger motor, which you only had off, or was off, small rumbles or large rumbles. This, it's more as far as a sliding sense of intensity. Now it's not just light and then heavy. It's from off, gradually to light, gradually to heavy, and you can feel all that. Which means, like, you can feel say if you're playing a game like Last of Us, right? And you're playing that, and it starts to drizzle, you will feel the vibrations gradually go from drizzle to, if there's a downpour and you're actually fighting in the rain, it will feel like water is hitting or hard torrential pour is hitting this. And then also, it makes it, the way they have it set up is that you can feel it on different sides. So say, for instance, you're in a game, you're shooting, whatever, like a shooting game, you get hit from the side, you feel it in individual space. So it isn't just set to the whole controller shaking, you actually feel it in certain spots, which is amazing, which is even more of a way to immerse you. And then of course they have a speaker on the front, like on this, which they're gonna upgrade a little bit, but it's to give it even more. So say if you're playing a racing game like Gran Turismo, you've got your adaptive feedback triggers, you're pressing it, and then as far as you feel the engine revving, you feel that, and you're driving, and then when you slam on the brakes, the haptic feedback, you will feel the grind gearing, and then the speaker will actually make you feel like you're like it'll give the sound. So it's supposed to bring even a bigger immersion into this. And yes, the new controller does look very awesome to me. I like the design. It looks sort of like the BMW i8, the one that Tom Cruise wrote in, I forget which movie was it, Ghost Protocol, I believe it was, where he had that movie and had the car in that movie. But yeah, I love the designs, and also the battery life is going to be so much more better than the DualShock 4. Why? Because you're not going to have this huge blaring light draining your whole battery the whole time. It's actually going to be sleek, and on the sides, as you see in the picture, it's going to be right there, because it even has there. So you see the light there, and then you have this big blaring one, and that drains the battery of this. That's why you have to charge so much. And with the new one, so the battery's good life is going to last even longer. But the one thing that I was hoping for was what they have now is they have this this thing called the DualShock 4 back button attachment. And what that is it has this little screen to its touchscreen. You can assign buttons like the R1, L1 to the extra back buttons. Now, this isn't the first controller that's done this. Of course, with the Microsoft's Xbox Elite Pro controller, it has actually, I think, 2 buttons on the back, which is why I thought that maybe PlayStation was gonna jump on to that, train and make it something that's already like built into the controller. But on the other hand, to lessen the money spent, so that the package or the combo of the controller and the console isn't exponentially expensive, I could understand them leaving that off and leaving it also for another attachment. Like they just made an attachment for this, they can make the attachment for that. So when you buy the game, as long as they have it ready, so when you buy the console, you have the option to add the other controller, because basically you just set another one. But I would like them to work with companies so that you could actually be even more in tune with the controller if it has the extra back buttons, and games will have it so you can actually work with that back button even better, which would be amazing. Now, one thing I'm hoping is that they don't just let this go, because with the DualShock, a lot of games I've played it in short user rumble, but then a lot of times it feels like it's lazy. Like I'll be playing a game, I'm like, shouldn't I be feeling something right now? Shouldn't I be feeling some type of action like a rumble? And it just doesn't do it. Now, granted, like I said, it does waste the battery like that, but it'll be good to be, if anything, in a setting of a game, you could have it to just feel it all the time like that, which I know probably would drain the battery, which is why taking out this blaring ass light and having it on the small little lines on the sides would increasing the battery life would definitely make it so much better. Now, with the Xbox Elite controller, the Xbox Series X controller, they're gonna have batteries, detachable battery pack, pretty much like the old school Xbox 360. Now, with the PlayStation, of course, you're gonna have the believe it is C port, which is sort of like what you have with your phones nowadays. Like, say this port right here, you're gonna be having that type of port for the charging, which is great because that charges the phone so fast. I would love it if they had like a stand, like a wireless controller stand, where you could just sit the PS5 controller. Maybe it might be able to do that. Maybe the battery, as long as it's within the thing. So, hey, who's to say that maybe PlayStation will have an extra thing like that, so you can have it charge just by sitting down, not have to plug anything. Or maybe you can just have it sit down and charge while you're playing, like if it have the pad on your lap or whatever. But I think that would be amazing. Like I said, there's still gonna be a head jack, not head jack, but a headphone jack on the bottom of it, like this one, so you can, put a headset on and do that. And like I said, I just hope this isn't a gimmick that's forgotten, like say with the Twitch or the Wii, where they have HD controller feedback or rumble, and they just didn't use it as much. Or even with the Xbox, they didn't utilize it, like unless it was like Forza that utilized the rumble and all that to its max. So I'm just hoping that PlayStation, because right now they're sort of behind as far as the fans, because they have not even shown a console, but they say that with their stuff, because like they're behind as far as 2 teraflops behind what Xbox Series X has, but they say they've maximized the equipment to its fullest, to the point where it doesn't have to work as hard to do with a little bit less power, which it'd be kind of great, and also might keep it a little bit more quiet, might keep it a little bit cool. That's why I'm just hoping that the design looks epic and awesome, because right now everybody's talking about the Xbox Series X and how it's going to be so much better. But I'm still a PlayStation fan. I got my God of War PlayStation Pro console with the PlayStation God of War controller, and I'm just saying, I think that the PlayStation might still come out on top. Also, before I finish, I think I forgot to mention as far as this create button, the share button that's on this. It's not the share button anymore. It's the create button, and that's pretty much, it's gonna be pretty much the same thing, because like Xbox included it in the Xbox Pro controller, which basically made it so they can do more better social media, and PlayStation kind of started that thing first. So like I said, I think the PlayStation Sense, the Dual Sense Controller, is really going to revolutionize the way we play the game, and that's what PlayStation's going for. They're going for the more immersion, as far as like, oh, like the graphics is going to be great, but they're trying something different with the controller, which might be a game changer for them, and greater immersion is never a bad thing. So thank you. If you like the thoughts that I had in my head and told you guys, remember to like this video, share it with everybody, remember to subscribe, check out my, actually this is my first time doing this kind of video, but just look at the playlist of all my other videos. So remember, I'm Scrat, you've been watching Sub Urban Nerd, and you've just been notified. Catch you guys on the next West Thoughts.